All right, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is being questioned by lawmakers about U.S. policy toward Venezuela, and that includes the arrest of Nicolás Maduro. The question in Congress is whether the military operation is an act of war or a law enforcement act. Here's some of what we've heard so far.
You know, multiple administrations from both parties have wanted this man arrested. And one of the options the president had before him was the opportunity, if things didn't work out, to go in and remove this individual because he was wanted in a law enforcement operation. Now, obviously, a law enforcement operation against the de facto head of a regime is not as simple as going after some fugitive hiding in a closet somewhere. It required planning, and it required eliminating anything that was a threat to the forces that were going in to extract him. I want to be clear, and I'll share with you what I've shared publicly. We made multiple attempts to get Maduro to leave voluntarily. And to avoid all of this, because we understood that he was an impediment to progress. You couldn't make a deal with this guy.
Okay, let's go live now to CBS News correspondent Eleanor Watson. Ellie, thank you so much for your time today. What stood out to you so far from what you've heard from Marco Rubio?
Well, Mugo, this was Secretary Rubio's first public appearance in front of Congress since the capture of Nicolás Maduro earlier this month. And in this appearance, he has so far defended the operation, which many in Congress, mostly Democrats, but some Republicans, question why Congress wasn't consulted before. He defended that by saying it was essentially a law enforcement operation, even though we did see a lot of military support in this limited raid. Now that Maduro's gone, Rubio then took the time to outline how the administration is working with the current government of Venezuela, led by Delcy Rodriguez, who was Maduro's vice president, working with her to transition Venezuela from what he called essentially a gangster's paradise to a friendly, stable partner. He said that while the administration is working with the government, he made clear the U.S. will continue to pressure Venezuela to align with U.S. interests by continuing to strike alleged drug boats and continuing this semi-blockade on sanctioned oil tankers going in and out of Venezuela, all of which is supported by about 15,000 U.S. troops on bases and warships that, as far as we know, have not left the region even 3 weeks after the capture of Maduro.
And Ellie, what's been the reception from lawmakers to Secretary Rubio's first testimony on this very issue?
Well, both sides of the dais of this committee, which we should note Secretary Rubio, as a senator, served on for around a dozen years, both sides have agreed that Maduro is a bad guy and have commended the bravery of the military in executing this operation. Republicans have unsurprisingly been more friendly to Rubio, allowing him the time to kind of walk through how he sees this transition, while Democrats have been more critical, questioning why the focus on the Western Hemisphere, not only on Venezuela, but also on Greenland, when there are other threats from places like Iran, North Korea, Russia, China, all of which could be topics that he's questioned about going forward in this hearing, since it is the committee's first chance to ask him about the Trump administration's foreign policy since they had a hearing last May.
Okay, Eleanor Watson, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.